Hope you are doing well. Today, horror incident about unseen entity or demon. John was a cheerful boy who lived in a cozy house with his family. His room was near the kitchen, and he liked it because he could always smell the delicious food his mom cooked. John was 12 years old, had brown hair, and loved to read adventure books. One night, after reading his favorite book, John felt sleepy. He put the book away, turned off the light, and snuggled under his blanket. As he drifted off to sleep, he had a strange dream. In his dream, he saw an old woman, about 60 years old, standing in the kitchen. She wore a long dark veil that covered her from head to toe. Her eyes were the only part of her face visible, and they seemed to look right through John. "Who are you?" John asked, feeling a bit scared. The old woman did not answer his question. Instead, she began to ask John religious questions. "What do you believe in? Do you know the stories of your faith?" she asked in a soft but serious voice. John was puzzled. He didn't know how to answer those questions. He had learned some things in Sunday school, but this felt different. The old woman kept asking more questions, and John felt more confused. Just then, his aunt appeared in the dream. John's aunt had passed away a few months ago, and seeing her made him feel both happy and sad. She looked just like he remembered her, with a warm smile and kind eyes. "Leave him alone," his aunt said to the old woman. "He's just a child." The old woman seemed angry. She and John's aunt began to argue. Their voices grew louder and louder until John felt a sharp sound in his ear. Suddenly he woke up. He was in his bed, and everything was quiet. He could hear the ticking of the clock on his wall and the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. John felt a chill run down his spine. He remembered the dream vividly. Since that night, he felt like something was always watching him whenever he went to his room. He couldn't shake off the feeling. The next morning, John told his mom about the dream. "Mom, it was so real." The old woman was asking me questions, and then Auntie came and argued with her. John's mom listened carefully. "Dreams can be strange sometimes, John. Maybe it's just your mind playing tricks on you." But John wasn't convinced. He decided to talk to his best friend, Mike, about it. Mike was the same age as John and loved solving mysteries. They often pretended to be detectives, solving imaginary crimes around their neighborhood. When John told Mike about the dream, Mike's eyes lit up. "We should investigate. Maybe there's a reason why you had that dream." The two friends decided to start their investigation by checking the kitchen, where John saw the old woman in his dream. They looked around but found nothing unusual. They checked the cupboards, under the sink, and even behind the refrigerator. "There's nothing here," John said, feeling disappointed. "Don't worry," Mike replied. "We'll figure this out. Maybe we need to find out more about your aunt. Did she ever mention anything about an old woman or religious questions?" John thought for a moment. He remembered that his aunt loved telling stories about their family's history. She often talked about old traditions and beliefs. John and Mike decided to visit John's grandmother, who might know more about these stories. John's grandmother lived in a small house not far from theirs. She was always happy to see John and Mike. When they arrived, she welcomed them with a plate of cookies and glasses of milk. "Grandma, can you tell us more about Auntie's stories? Did she ever mention an old woman or anything about our family's beliefs?" John asked. Grandma thought for a while. "Your aunt loved those old stories. There was one about a wise old woman who used to live in our village many years ago. She was known for asking people questions about their faith and beliefs. Some said she was a guardian of our family's traditions. John and Mike exchanged glances. This was starting to make sense. The old woman in John's dream might be connected to their family's history. Did Auntie ever talk to this old woman? Mike asked. I'm not sure, Grandma replied, but your aunt was always interested in those stories. Maybe she felt a special connection to that old woman. John and Mike thanked Grandma for the cookies and the information. They decided to do more research. They went to the local library to look for books about their village's history and any mentions of the old woman. At the library, they found a book about local legends. One chapter talked about the old woman who lived in their village. It said that she appeared in people's dreams to remind them of their beliefs and traditions. This is it, John exclaimed. The old woman in my dream was reminding me of our family's traditions. But why did your aunt come in the dream? Mike wondered. John thought about it. Maybe she was protecting me. She didn't want the old woman to scare me. As they walked home from the library, John felt a bit better. He now had a possible explanation for his dream. However, the feeling of being watched in his room still bothered him. That night, John decided to face his fear. He went to his room and sat on his bed. If there's something here, please show yourself, he whispered. At first, nothing happened. But then he felt a gentle breeze, and a soft light appeared near his bed. The light grew brighter, and John saw his aunt's face. She looked calm and peaceful. Don't be afraid, John, she said softly. I'm here to watch over you. The old woman was reminding you of our family's traditions. It's important to remember where we come from. John felt tears in his eyes. I miss you, Auntie, he said. I miss you too, his aunt replied. But I'm always with you in your heart. Remember our family stories and keep them alive. The light slowly faded, and John felt a sense of peace. He knew that his aunt was watching over him, and the old woman was a part of their family's history. From that night on, John no longer felt scared in his room. He told Mike about what happened, and they both felt proud of their detective work. They had solved the mystery of the dream and learned about their family's traditions. John continued to have dreams about his aunt, but they were no longer scary. They were filled with love and happy memories. He felt grateful for the special connection he had with his family and their rich history. As the years went by, John made sure to share the stories he learned with his younger cousins and friends. He wanted to keep the traditions alive, just like his aunt and the old woman in his dream. And whenever he smelled delicious food coming from the kitchen, he smiled, remembering the dream that led him on an unforgettable adventure. It's my advice, if you ever visit, remember to be careful around the river and the forest. For the spirits that are hungry for fear, always inquire about the house before move in. Keep yourself and others safe from any type of scary activity. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe.